at 3:33 p.m. Apologize for the tardiness, and for anybody who happens to be watching at home or is looking for us downstairs in the boardroom. We're meeting in room 301 of 200 East First Avenue today to accommodate families having some more space for enrollment. Our agenda today, we're going to talk about policy BLA, procedures in appeals and hearings, BLB, procedures in appeals and hearings for classified personnel or certified personnel, BLC, procedures in appeals and hearings for students. And so it's a long agenda of things that are not in my wheelhouse. So I'm looking for help here. Who's presenting today?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
Excellent. Welcome to Mr. Gann.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner James on the Policy Committee. As you mentioned, we'll be talking about revisions to policy BLA, BLB, and BLC today. So just a little background, the Education Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland gives students and staff the right to appeal final decisions of the CEO's local board. That's across the state of Maryland. And those are covered under sections 4205C3, 6202A3, and 7305B5. And we split those up in policies BLA, BLB, and BLC. So policies BLA are typically for unaffiliated employees. And they include such matters as like non-renewals for untenured teachers, certificate lapses, discharge for unaffiliated employees, bid protests, and also any promotion or retention decisions for students. Policy BLB covers dismissal and discipline for certificated employees, and BLC covers student discipline, specifically extended suspensions, which cover 11 suspension for 11 to 44 days, and expulsion, which is removed for 45 days or longer. So this round of revisions was specifically kicked off by a dispute with our discovery timeline, specifically in the meeting of within 30 days. If you recall that the board voted on December. So that, and along the process of that, there were other efficiencies and process improvements when made with the policy.
So, Mr. Gann, can you just, for the public who may not know legal words about discovery timeline, what that means?
Sure. Just the discovery timeline is in a typical legal dispute, the parties have a right to demand documents, testimony, and other evidence between, demand from each other party. So the specific change that we made within the policy was that those discovery requests have to come at least 30 days prior to hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. So some of the proposed revisions were to first incorporate a procedure for board review of policies BLA, BLB, and BLC. Previously, there was no, as in February, there was no written process in our policy for a board review when there are questions of interpretation of the policy. So under this proposed revision, the chairs of the Teaching and Learning Policy and Operations Committee or the designees will convene an ad hoc committee, and then the board will confirm or deny the decision at the next public board meeting or special board meeting. We had a special board meeting in case it's summer month and there's a time crunch where we quickly kind of convene the board. And this is a response to some of the feedback we got. We expanded the time to accept appeals. Previously it was 4:30, we expanded to 5 o'clock. Also additionally clarifying the admission of additional evidence. In a nutshell, we want to encourage appellates to submit all relevant information up front so that the hearing examiner can accurately rule on the matter. So unless evidence is relevant material and there is good reason for the failure to submit, new information will not be seen in the exceptions period. And just for the general public, the exceptions period is after the hearing examiner issues a recommendation, the parties can submit written memoranda and written memoranda to the hearing examiner and to the board to consider. Finally, we revised the BLA forms to make them a little more simplified and helpful for our public. First, we're requiring the submission of the CEO's final decision. We've had some instances where we did not have, because we did not know when the final decision was, the timeline was off. And so you have 30 days to submit. You have 30 days to submit. 30 days to submit an appeal after the CEO's final decision. So we're asking appellants to submit that letter along with their form. We've also had instances where appellants claim they were represented by counsel but actually weren't. So we're just asking for a formal letter written representation from appellants. And finally, there was some confusion on the definition of oral argument evidentiary hearing. An oral argument is when an appeal goes straight to the board, and the board would entertain testimony. Evidentiary hearing is when it's basically when the hearing examiner conducts the hearing.
So again, for the general public, what would be some examples of cases that go directly to the board?
Sure.
Sorry, not trying to trick, just thinking of places where I'm going, I wonder how we because I might know.
Anecdotally, I know when I've asked this only happened once, I believe there were allegations of grade changing. So it's a serious, very serious high-level stuff that goes directly to the board.
Okay.
But in the policy,
I just realized, like, in 5 years, I don't think we've ever had one.
yeah, but within the policy, there is language about the fact the board must consider when they want to consider an oral hearing or argument. So in policy DLC, two divisions are the same, incorporating a procedure for board review of policy and expanding the time period. We also revised the determination letter process, and this was in response to some of the feedback received, from our partners. The current iteration of policy, the CEO and deputy was only required to use their best efforts to make a determination letter as quickly as possible. And the determination letter lets the student know if they're suspended, if there was a suspended extension or expelled. So under the revised process, students will receive the determination letter at the determination hearing, and then the final letter from the director of suspension services within no later than 72 hours. Secondly, we added a time frame for requests to submit written memoranda after the hearing is held. Under the current iteration of policy, the parties have the right to submit written memoranda with the approval, after the hearing with the approval of the presiding officer. However, there's no timeline attached to that. And this causes issues with scheduling the board vote. So under the proposed revision, the request to submit written memoranda must be read at the hearing, and then the presiding officer will then decide the timeline after the request. So this is a slide of the outreach that we sent for this policy. And like I said, we received some and considered incorporating some of the feedback. And also in the appendix, there's some data on policy BLA, BLB, and BSC for the last 3 years. And first reader will include some more detailed information on the policy BLA, such as the types of cases. Okay, any questions?
Since you mentioned questions about the appendix, could you go to slide 11? And can you just explain to me what that means?
Sure. So clearly board vote is the board already vote on the appeal, and was it decided, was it decided to vote at a public board meeting? Withdrawn or settled is if the parties withdrew or settled the case before it got to the board. Administratively closed are typically appeals that were closed by the board officer. They didn't meet time requirements, then open is open.
So, for example, in the SY 17, 18, you have two left open.
Mm-hmm.
Is that typical kind of that we have carryover like that? Is that a challenge? Is it
Well, the
is
two
it
that were,
timeline due process? Or?
the two that were left open, one is actually scheduled for board vote Tuesday,
Okay.
and the other one was just due to postponement request on both sides, but that second one was scheduled for September 30th.
Okay. I just was trying to get an idea of how that was. Questions?
The Associated Student Congress, were they engaged throughout the process also? I saw like a citywide city schools youth council. It's my first time hearing that.
We did not, but we will include them for first reader. The youth council is led by our youth specialist, Rashad State, and that's the CEO of youth council.
Okay.
So I have a question. This one probably is more for Allison, but you might know more as well, related to that. So on this slide, so this is philosophical, not specific to this presentation. But when we get a slide like slide 6 that shows the different stakeholders that were contacted or that gave input, should the board interpret that these people were reached out to and were engaged in this course over time, or should the board read this as these are some voicemails we left or some letters we sent?
I can let you know what letters we sent.
Okay.
So these were organizations we
So it's
reached out
not
to.
necessarily, so when I run into somebody from, say, the Maryland Law Clinic, and I say, hey, thanks for weighing in on this, and they say, huh?
Right, not everyone weighed in.
Okay, okay. So it would be helpful for us, I think, as a board, because when we see this, I think we're assuming that these people are all aware that this is happening and going on, and that that may not be the case. So maybe 2 slides, 1, these are the people we reached out to, and then these are the people we heard from and engaged with.
That answer.
Yeah, because then that also allows us to lean on the people that we run into from, say, I don't know, the ACLU and say, hey, you didn't get back to us on this. Are you interested? Do you not? So that we can help highlight that.
And also to see a bit of equity and diversity of folks that we are engaging with. I think that's important.
The other thing I would say is that I don't see the new charter school advisory board here, but they should be on here as well. At least check it out.
Then, okay.
And also PTA. I mean, PCAP is on there, I don't know, but PTA kind of functions separate together, yes? They're 2 organizations, and just the leadership.
The PTA does
It's a
have
member of
2, 3
PCAP.
separate.
We usually consider them, we handle by PCAP because they have membership in PCAP.
Yeah, I was going to say PTA has only 2 seats on the PCAP board.
My reason for pulling them out was, this is a lot, and it comes up, again, this is philosophical about all policies are all board input. It comes up a lot that we see sort of the same folks, and I don't necessarily see the mom of the kid that lives next door to me represented in these groups.
PCAP should be representative of the non-members next door. They should be representative of parent organizations, and that's why PTA is on your board.
Yes, but as one voice in all this, and I'm thinking about the actual mom herself would sit next to all these people with all these titles and say, well, if the ACLU is weighing in, then my little opinion doesn't matter. So how do we help uplift more grassroots voices, whether community organizations, or is that PCAP's job? And we as a board, lead to PCAP and say, hey, we really want to see and ensure that we're getting diverse parent representation and student representation.
I mean, I would say I think that's PCAP's job. I think they do a good job of it too. They work really hard to try to engage a more diverse group of parents and make sure that parents are more regularly, consistently engaged. So I think they've been working hard on that the last few years. That's what I would see. And then also, having a publicly meeting like this, both the policy committee and the local committee, those are also opportunities for members of the public.
So maybe we can, as a board, chat with them publicly at the next time they testify and just ask that they consider figuring out a communication tree between the school. So if they've got a school lead and if their PCAP representative, how are they pushing that out? How are we getting it back in? What schools are we hearing from? Things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it's just the topic.
Yeah,
Yes.
oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm as bored as the rest of you about this.
Yeah.
But I felt like that made this conversation a good time to have this sort of transformational conversation, since we don't have much of that. So back specifically to the presentation itself, if we look at the numbers expressed in the appendices, do we have an idea of how those compare to other LEAs of either similar makeup, size, demographics as Baltimore City or regionally?
We don't, we can look into that depending on how public that information is. That's something we can look into for sure.
And again, just curious to see how, because what this means is if we're getting a lot of appeals, then we've probably got a challenge in either our collective bargaining or in our structures and our communication. My guess is you never get rid of all appeals, but less is better. Yes?
Correct.
Chief Turner? So it would just be interesting, I think, the board would be interested in seeing how that compares. On Form 1, where this in the documents on the board doc, I'm just wondering how that is available. Is it electronic? And then, again, another sort of philosophical, sort of transformational piece is, once this is passed, how are we educating the population of its existence?
So Form 1 is available electronically, and when parties stop out, we'll often give them a copy. In addition to when employees receive the final decision, they also receive the policy and instructions on how to file an appeal.
Okay. So everybody that's eligible to file an appeal, everyone that's ripped or left or terminated, or every student that's suspended or expelled gets a packet on, here's the policy
I
outside.
think RIF, you can't, RIF cannot, I don't believe they're eligible for people being RIF.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure not, but, yes, when there is a final decision letter, there is instruction on how to appeal.
Okay, so that gives the kids and the certificate staff. and everybody.
Yes, and I know for a fact where policy DLC had determination letter in the policy DLC form, so on how to appeal.
So when a student is going through a process that might come to an appeals place, is there any, they have to sign an acknowledgement of, yes, I received the information on how to file an appeal, should I want to?
Yes, you do, and
Okay.
that's also included in
And that
policy.
comes the student assent and, or consent of assent and the guardian, parent both have to sign that?
I believe the parents are guardians too, but I know in policy JKA, which governs the policy before the appeal, there's like 2 forms where they have to sign acknowledging that they received the information on how to appeal.
Those are my questions. Okay. Well, thank you for putting together your presentation and the work on that. That's what we got today.
Thank you.
So do we have any public comment?
Yes,
Okay, excellent. Do we have a list or?
it's on board docs.
Is that right now?
Mr. Zimmerman, Mark.
Mike over here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Keith Zimmerman. I'm the attorney for the Baltimore Teachers Union.
Excellent.
The board office did reach out to us for some suggestions. Not realizing that this was just a presentation, to let you know that there will be some policy changes being proposed to you. I don't have much to comment on right now. I'll have to see what the board incorporated, but the system is proposing for these changes. There are a couple of things that I did write in my comments that I'd like to just talk about right now for a moment. The law for dismissal of certificated employees, section 6202 of the education article, recently, about a year or so ago, was amended to allow for arbitration of dismissal cases. There's no rule whatsoever that talks about it. And I think that some mention should be made in the PLP rule that there is an option to the employee to request arbitration instead of the process that's been in existence, which is to request a hearing before a hearing examiner, exceptions, and decision by the board. I think employees ought to be informed of that, as well as there's been an operational problem that I have seen where individuals in the certificated bargaining unit, particularly the teacher bargaining unit, when they're being informed of a statement of charges against them and told of their appeal rights, they're being given the BLA form, which is the form to request an appeal under section 4205C of the education article. It's the wrong form. It's confusing, and that does not protect their rights, because their right is just to request either I want a hearing before a hearing examiner, or I want to go to arbitration. And right now, the letter coming out of the cabinet doesn't say that. And I'm sure I'll have some commentary on the proposed changes to the policies, and I look forward to seeing them.
Perfect. Well, first off, I appreciate your being here to bring this perspective. So the policy process, have you been updated on how it works? You know, that's perfect. So yeah, so we come here and then we can have the discussion and move big rocks, so that hopefully there's smaller rocks by the time it comes to the general population. The last piece that you mentioned about not getting the right form. So is that the?
There shouldn't even be a form. They should just receive a letter saying you have a right to request a hearing within 10 days or request arbitration. Right now, they're told you have a right to file an appeal, and they're given the BLA form, which is a form used under a different statute, a different part of the law.
Are you saying that is general practice for the district, or that's happening in certain instances throughout?
I've seen it in the last few teacher dismissal cases that have been sent to, because the union gets a copy by collective bargaining agreement, the union's notified at the same time the individual's notified, the union sends me copies because I'm their attorney, and what I see in the letter is you have a right to file an appeal under the BLA policy, and the actual appeal form is given to them. It's just not the process.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
And it has become our practice in this casual sort of investing public comment, because we have not come to the end of our time, I'll open it up and see if there's anyone else in the gallery that would like to address the group. Going once, twice, 3 times, okay. All right, we'll see none. Our next meeting is August 20th from 3:30 to 5:30. Hopefully not in this room. It'll be downstairs.
I like this room.
I don't mind this room. The tables are bugging me though. I gotta do something to make it not feel like we're in this little kumbaya circle and you all are now part of our room. We'll be discussing policy KCD, which is on public gifts and donations, and threat assessment. So if you are a vested interest in either of those areas, hopefully you will join us. Otherwise, we are adjourned at 3:53 p.m.